Good morning, America. It's me again. I'm Russell Mays, and I'm coming to you on a Sunday afternoon. What a glorious day outside is. There's no doubt about it. I hope everybody is enjoying themselves today. The news has been completely, without a doubt, nuts. That's all I got to say is it's gone absolutely Democratic Donald Trump crazy. So, how do we begin this day? I'm going to start it off with this vaping flavor ban that everybody is hooting and hollering about. It all started during that press conference where Donald Trump was asked about what he thought about the flavor ban. He said, and I quote, "It's causing a lot of problems and we're going to have to do something about it." That is all he said. So if that's all he said, why is there so much crap in the news about banning it? The misinformation that's being put out by the press, by the FDA, and the health organization under Gottlieb. Actually, it's Sharpless now, I guess. So, the Food and Drug Administration said in a statement that it would soon release details on a policy that aims to remove unauthorized flavored e-cigarette products from the market. That's a lot of ifs. And when I'm talking about a lot of ifs, is it aims to release details to remove unauthorized flavored e-cigarette products from the market. They have no idea, and they're basing everything off of those lung illnesses, which they still do not know for a fact has any connection to vaping. They cannot prove it yet. But that's not stopping them from scaring the living daylights out of everybody that's trying to quit smoking cigarettes by using vaping to help them stop smoking. The tobacco industries, whom Atera, I believe, purchased a huge block of Juul e-cigarettes. Now, if you remember in history that Scott Gottlieb of the FDA had a lawsuit against Juul until tobacco bought Juul. Then the lawsuit went away, or at least I have not heard anything about it. However, in the underlying statements, a few of the Juul executives or people in right positions have been subpoenaed about marketing to kids and using high nicotine content in their product. Juul used to have flavored e-cigarettes. They currently now carry tobacco, mint, and menthol, and have requested a waiver of those three items on the flavor ban. So that way they can continue selling their product with the big tobacco and stop the rest of the industry and people trying to get off of cigarettes so they can keep their profits going. Big tobacco is about $50 billion a year, and the vaping industry is cutting into their profits huge. The other study that's out there that has not been radically promoted in the media, if you will, is that if they stop all vaping products, which is a huge industry employing hundreds of thousands of people across the country and around the world, actually, will go back to smoking cigarettes. And that's what they want anyway. So much for we care about the people. So, Trump made a statement during a press review or meeting, and the media went nuts. The Food and FDA and the Health Department are making statements that the media is taking and running with it and scaring everybody. It said the federal officials should immediately remove all flavored e-cigarettes from the market. All right, let's break that down. Flavored e-cigarettes. Just what is a flavored e-cigarette? Vaping has many different forms of vaping, if you will. You do have the e-cigarettes, which used to be looking like a little cigarette pen that have the juice in it and they vape it in that way. Then you have all your mods and RDAs and RTAs and all the squonks that everybody uses to vape the juices that are out there. Brown said they should also take other necessary measures to end all marketing to children, prohibit online sales of e-cigarettes, exercise rigorous pre-market review, and closely review e-cigarette products already on the market. So, all this breaks down to is they just want the money from the products that are being sold. They want to control it so they get the money from it. They want to cut it back because it's cutting into Juul's profits. It's also taking a big chunk out of the big tobacco profits. But yet, they don't know what to do, so they're going to scare the general public into, oh my God, I don't want to be harsh here, but I am going to be harsh. 6 people have presumably died from what everybody is saying, a vaping product. From what I understand and what I have read and heard, that one of the kids that died, and they're calling it lipid pneumonia, is what they're calling it, died from this, and the mother said she found an e-cigarette in her backpack. The doctor said that in the last 90 days, he vaped or e-cigarette. Well, they forgot to mention the kid also drank in the last 90 days. He also had food in the last 90 days, went out and hung out with his friends in the last 90 days. They didn't look at anything of the lifestyle of this kid or these 6 kids that presumably died. Now, I'm going to take it a little bit further. That video out there of the kid having the seizures, I'm going to tear this apart. I'm sorry. I do not believe this video for the life of me. And the reason why I'm going to tell you this, and you might think I'm an idiot or a pain in the butt or just cruel as hell, but you tell me one emergency room in any hospital anywhere in the United States that when a patient is having convulsions to see the doctor or the nurse stand there while somebody stands there with a camera and videotapes it. I'm sorry. That camera guy would have had a hand in the face and he would have been buried, because that would have been, what do they call it, a cold blue or a code red, where a life is in danger. You're going to have a camera sitting there. Also, the other segment of that camera, the kid's got a throat down his throat for a breathing tube. And they're standing there with the camera again, asking him questions. First off, they would not have him awake with a breathing tube. And if he was awake, he wouldn't be able to talk. This is the kind of crap the media is putting out there to scare the general public. And I'm telling you, the left is doing this. The Democrats are involved in all of this. They want to control your life. And if you're going to make some money off of a product that helps people stop smoking, and the government is not making money off of it, that's why we're going to start getting regulations. Now, that being said, I do think there should be some regulations, because they have found that there has been black market cartridges that fit the Juul product. The juices or the flavors that are inside the cartridges, presumably, and nothing's been proven. This is the thing, there is no proven facts. But they think, I'm telling you, they think it's been cut with what is called vitamin E acetate. Now, vitamin E acetate is a solvent that lessens the viscosity of the liquid, makes it a little bit easier to vape or smoke, or I don't want to use the word smoke because it's not really smoking. So, but there's a big cloud and everyone sees a cloud and oh my God, you're smoking. Anyway, so it makes it easier, so it gets on the coil and makes the vape. But they still can't prove it. But they say the acetate is what is creating the lipid pneumonia in the 6 that have died. Lipid pneumonia is where is inhaled and it coats the inside of the lungs, blocking the air receptacles, if you will. Makes the lungs swell up so you can't breathe, then you go into convulsions and you die. But they still don't have proof of this. Everything is speculation. The only thing they truly do have proof of is Juul, who I do believe, it's my opinion, is spearheading this to get all the other products off the market, because they're cutting into their profits since they are owned by the tobacco companies now. But they have put out these cartridges with 56 milligrams or more of nicotine. That's flipping crazy. That is intense. That is intentionally hooking somebody on nicotine. Even though nicotine is an addictive substance, it's not what gives you the cancer as all the products that are inside a cigarette that gives you the cancer. But still, the nicotine will hook you. And Juul was the one that was actually going into schools, and you can look that up on the internet, going into schools, teaching kids that it's better to vape than it is to have a cigarette. Well, Juul, some of their executives are been hauled in to testify against this or for this. So Please read up on it. There's been a massive movement. Call the White House. There's petitions out there to stop this flavor ban. They should do some kind of a regulations on it and correct it, because they're saying it's the candied flavored that is enticing the kids. Well, I don't know if you're splitting hairs or what it is, or if I'm splitting hairs. I mean, they have things like your fruit flavors, strawberries and orange and cherry and lemon, that kind of flavors. They also have your dessert flavors, your custards and your creams, stuff like that, flavorings. It makes the vaping sensation better. It makes them vape, so they don't have a cigarette. And all the hardware, the mods that the kids buy, I don't want to use the word kids. Sorry to say that, because when you say kids, they're going to jump all over it. Oh my God, Russ just said that the kids are buying it. I'm 61 years old. Anybody underneath me is a kid. So if you're 50 years old, you're a kid. So they do make some pretty cool mods out there. All the electronic devices and everything else that the generations that are vaping like to have. It's a status quo. It really gets me aggravated how the press manipulates it, the information that's out there, by a word or a statement. Our president himself put out an actual statement saying that vaping is most likely better than cigarette smoking, which it is. Still need a lot of research, but he still wants to make sure kids are safe. That's the key word. Kids are not vaping it and not promoted to children, making sure that the vape industry is safe and healthy or acceptable to the public. In a nutshell, it's your body, i.e., or as is, or whatever you want to call it. Just like the women say, it's my body. If I want to kill my child, I can kill my child. Well, it's your body. If you want to have a cigarette, have a cigarette. If you want to vape, vape. If you don't want to do either, don't do either. It is up to you. Take responsibility for yourself. If you want to buy black market products on the street corner and take the risk of killing yourself, you take that risk. When are we going to be responsible for our own actions? It's just unbelievable how the left wants to save you from yourself. You as a human being in the United States, only the United States, you do not know how to live. You do not know how to make a good life for yourself. You do not know how to raise your family. You don't know anything. You're a sheep. You're a poor sheep. And we have to have the left, the socialist Democrats, take care of you. Oh, you can't pay for your school. We'll do that for you. Oh, you can't have a job. We'll pay you money not to have a job. Oh, you don't have a house. We'll make it so you do have a house. Where in the world in the Constitution does all this there written? It does not say the government will give us everything we want. Pull up your bootstraps. Get out there. Make a life for yourself. It's your pursuit of happiness. That's what it's all about. It's not about the government giving you things. It's all about being happy. And if you think it's happy to live on the streets of LA or San Francisco and poop in the gutters and pee and get free needles so you can inject your drugs. But yet, if you have a vape product, ooh, you will go to jail. You're not allowed to vape. Just make sure you keep that needle clean. Make sure you poop in the right gutter. Make sure you have a tent and harass the good people of the country while they walk by trying to make their life. It's unbelievable, the hypocrisy that's being spewed. And even on the Republican side, there's a lot of rhinos out there that want to have all this taken away from you too. They say they're Republican, they're not. But that doesn't mean anything. Our elected officials are exactly that. They are elected officials. And if you want them out of office, vote them out of office. If you want Trump out of office, vote him out of office. Do not try to falsify impeachment like Nadler's trying to do again and again and again. They will not stop. They cannot. This is something you have to understand. No matter how wrong they are, no matter how blatant their lies are, no matter how fabricated the story is, they cannot deviate from the story. The moment they deviate, the moment they will lose the entire party. It's done. Little bit of history lesson for you. The John F. Kennedy assassination. They will never, ever admit that there was more than one shooter, no matter how much information proving that there was. And the reason is if they admit that there was a conspiracy, the government falls apart. They can't have that. That's the reason why all shootings and assassinations since then has had a fall guy. Somebody that took the fall, period. They learned their lessons on that. Okay. Moving right along. I don't know how many of you slammed your head against the wall watching the Democratic debate Thursday, I think it was. Oh my God. Where are these people at? Where are they at? You know, I felt sorry for Joe Biden. I really did. And the reason why I felt sorry for him, because he lost his teeth. You could see his false dentures pop on his mouth that one time. And what's sad about it is that's what most people picked up on. Not about his not being able to remember things about his time as vice president or where he was or some of the gaffes he's doing. They remember his teeth jumping out of his mouth real fast. He recovered good, but that's what they noticed, you know. And it was just a hodgepodge Trump bashing. I'm trying to figure this out. If our unemployment is at 3.7%, the best it's ever been in 50 years, and everybody's doing rather well, how can they stand up there and say they are going to find jobs for people? Well, what jobs are they going to find? There's 7 million jobs that need to be filled now. That was an estimate. by the unemployment office that still haven't been filled. My resumes are still being bombarded. They want to hire me. These people are desperate. So if you want a job, get a job. There's one out there for you. So that was just one of the things. And healthcare. Oh my God. Healthcare, the best thing that Trump ever did was get rid of the mandate. But yet they won't do anything about healthcare. It just sits there in Congress. Whether it's Republican or Democrat, they're not going to do anything about it. It's the same thing as the USCMA, the California-Mexico, or the Canadian-Mexican-US Trade Pact. That still needs to be ratified in Congress. What a fantastic document this is. But the Democratic Congress, under Pelosi, does not want Trump to have a victory. So they're sitting on it. So we need to get the House back on Republicans. Okay, moving right along. That's just another issue that they're arguing about they won't do. Building a wall. Trump has done the best thing in the world. He pretty much told them all to go suck a turnip because he's building that wall now. And every day we see another couple of, not 100, maybe a couple of miles built. And it will be done by the time his term is up, 6 years. He will have the wall built. He just doesn't put it in the media anymore. He's not going to Congress for the money. The Republicans didn't give him the money. The Democrats wouldn't give him the money. And all they hoot and holler and say, well, Mexico was going to pay for it. Well, you were laughing at him when he said it the first time. So now you're using it against him and you won't pass it? Please. Okay. Now comes the best in the world. This is so choice. When it was said during the debate, I went, I can't believe it came out of his mouth. Our good old Beto baby, O'Rourke. Policy is speculating unconstitutional. He's going to take your guns. He said it blatantly on stage. The AR-15, that's a bad gun. Ooh, yeah, ooh. I don't care what anybody says. When it comes to the Second Amendment, you're done. The right to own and bear arms shall not be infringed. The reason for that Second Amendment is not hunting, is not anything but for one main reason, is to protect you and your family from a tyrannical government. The reason why they put the Second Amendment in there is when the British took and tried to run the colonists out and we wanted our own country. When we beat them in the Revolutionary War, sent them packing, and then in, 1786, I think it was, or something like that, 1883? When did they have the Second War? The War of 1812, there we go. I have to remember my history that they don't teach anymore in school. The War of 1812 was for the British again, because they needed the wealth of the United States and they wanted to take it back. So they attacked us again to recolonize the United States. If it wasn't for the Second Amendment, where everybody had protection against a government, we would be under British rule today. But because of that, we have been one of the best free countries in the world. Our government, even though with all its political BS, knows that if they make the public a little bit pissed off, they have a serious problem on their hands. Because almost 2/3 of this country own guns in some form or fashion. I'm sorry. That's a lot of firepower if you get people pissed off. And I don't care what the government has. That's the reason for it. That's the reason why we're a free country. That's the reason why we keep things on the side like that. So keep your guns, back it, tell Beta to go jump off a cliff or whatever. Something that's really interesting is the AR-15 is the most popular rifle in America by a considerable margin. And it also says clearly protected by the in common use standard that was laid out in DC versus Heller lawsuit. Put blatantly as possible, confiscation is not a program that the federal government is permitted to adopt. They cannot confiscate your guns. If Beto O'Rourke ever became president and he does an executive order to confiscate your AR-15, he has violated the Constitution on all ends, and America, all 320 million people, have a right under the Constitution to stand their ground. Now, are you ready for this? This gets even better. All right. My question to myself was, how evil are they? The top 2020 Democrat contenders, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Beto O'Rourke, Julian Castro, announced on Sunday that Supreme Court Associate Judge Kavanaugh must be impeached. Why? Oh my God, are you ready for this? A new uncorroborated, disputed allegations of sexual misconduct against Kavanaugh has surfaced in a weekend in New York Times piece. Now, get this. This is how mind exploding these people are. They do not care. They will say anything and everything just to get a reaction. And that's what they're doing. The report, uncorroborated, and its allegations. That means they have no proof of this. That when he was in Yale, he exposed himself to a male this time. Are you serious? Now, here's the question. Did he play sports? Was he in gym class? So by that right, every male and every female that ever had to shower after a sporting event or practice with other members of the same sex are guilty of exposing themselves. Now, if you're a transgender or identify as a transgender, you can actually be the opposite sex and be exposing yourself into a shower with the opposite sex. Are you people crazy? These are the people that want to run your country. None of them on that stage said anything good about the United States. None of them said anything promising about the United States or its people. None of them said anything of hopes of building a better country. All of them, and I do mean every one of them, and I demand that you try to prove me wrong. All of them said that we are a terrible place. We can't do anything right. We need to have the world come into our country to make it better, because all these people that are the best thing that ever happened to me, it was one of the things, is there was a meme on Facebook and it said, if all the illegals that are coming across the border are helping the country so much, how come they didn't help the country they stay in or from? If it was helping us so much, why don't they help their own country where they're from? No one can answer that or will answer that. They will go ballistic on it. There's so many things that are being put forth that people are buying into. Don't do that. If you're going to listen to the news, be objective about it. I do choke down CNN and ABC once in a while until I can't stand it anymore. Then I do watch Fox for the most of it, and there's a lot of things on there. Like, I personally believe Chris Wallace hates Trump. And I think Shepard Smith is another one. Hates Trump. And I do think Fox is starting to lean left now. The only good thing is they hired Sanders. I can't remember the wonderful woman that got kicked out that was a spokesman. Wow. I'll think of her name here shortly. They hired her on, but they also hired Donna Brazile, and she is the biggest lefty out there. She's the one that gave the questions to Hillary during the debate. They also hired Paul Ryan, who was the biggest rhino in the Republican Congress when he was the gavel guy, Nancy Pelosi's position, Speaker of the House. Now he's part of the board making decisions on how Fox News is going to present the news. They're ruining it. OA1 or OAN, One American News Network, is the new upcoming conservative, truth-orientated news organization so far. It's just amazing on how twisted the news is getting. And they harp on the same thing over and over again. I can't believe Nadler said that he doesn't want to talk about whether it's an impeachment regulations or investigations or, I'm not going to talk about that. He has no authority to do it. They have to vote him the authority to open up an investigation to look into it, but he just decided to go ahead and do it. There's so many things wrong with that, but yet the press doesn't present it that way. Nadler's just saying, I'm going to do this, and this is all there is. And of course, the media is running with it. We're going to impeach Trump. We're going to impeach Trump. My question to all you Trump haters out there, why do you hate him? I could not stand Obama when he was in office, but he was my president. For good or bad, in my mind, I respected the office, even if he didn't respect the office. So now Trump's in charge. The left doesn't believe that philosophy. They hate Trump with every fiber in their body. And I have never seen such vileness and evil. What's that old radio show? What evil lurks in the hearts of men? Only the shadow knows. Old radio show. But it's true. Only the evil that lurks in the hearts of men would have such hatred for another fellow human being. My God, they love Charlie Manson more than they love Trump. How can you do that? How can they love Hitler more than they love Trump? That's flipping amazing. They think Mao Zedong was a wonderful person. I'm just, it blows my mind. How can you be so blinded with hatred of your own countrymen? Because now they're actually stating that if you follow Trump and believe and voted for him, you are just as evil and hated as Trump is now. How can any party alienate that many people of their own country? Think about that. 63 million people voted for Trump to make a better life for this country. And the Democrat side of that hate every one of them and want nothing to do with them except for changing their vote. Look what they did with the mooch. Once he trashed Trump, oh, he was the best thing since sliced bread. Oh, that's a good man. You've seen the light. Come into the fold. I got the hiccups. Really gave me that going on. So, unbelievable. Please, people, when you're listening to the news, find what interests you and do the research. Do not stop on the first page of Google, because you will find most of the information that I got on the vape, it's all verified, stated by the FDA, health organizations, everything else, but did not show up until the 6th to 7th page on Google. All the rest is the same story by the same organizations, respun different ways. Read it and be very careful about how you read it. Read what they say, weigh what they say, get the other side of the story, read what they say, weigh what they say, come to your own conclusion. That's the same thing with everything that was said in the debate. That's the same thing that they're trying again with Kavanaugh. And they are really worried because RGB, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, RBG, is not going to be around much longer. I think she's going to retire before she passes. She needs a break. And that scares the living hell out of the Democrats. It really does. Which means they don't even care about her. Somebody that's been in the courts for all these years, doing a pretty fair job, made good choices, made bad choices, just like everybody does. And they defended her. But now that she's going to be leaving in one form or another, they hate her for it. They will suck that woman dry until they can find a way to put somebody they want in. That's exactly what they're doing with Trump. That's exactly what they're doing with the entire country, as a matter of fact. Don't allow them to do that. What are you willing to do to stop the Democrats from all the publicity and lying? How many letters have you written? How many phone calls have you made? Or is it, oh, I push like on Facebook and I'll repost this meme? This is our country. And the Democrats are trying to take it away from us. They will still call it the United States of America, under the Democrat policies, not for the republic for which it stands. It's for the Democrats and who they want it to stand for. They have lost their way, and the socialism has found it. I can't even believe, well, it's hard for me to believe the polling where Elizabeth Warren is one of the most popular up there, and Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders. Elizabeth Warren? Are you kidding me? Miss Pocahontas, who did you see her commercial saying how she's truthful and honest and how she was able to, work the system and work up his way and, struggled all her life? She lied to get into college. She lied to get her jobs using a Indian heritage as a special class because she couldn't do it on her own merit. And these people think she's great. Okay. Last statement before I let you all have your ears rested again or relaxed again is the reason why I think, now this is my opinion, that a lot of the lefties hate Trump is because Trump could care less about them. He knows, they're always talking transparency. He is one of the most transparent. You know every day what that man is thinking by his tweets. And that's what they keep on saying. Well, he shouldn't tweet so much. Why? You want to know what he's thinking? This is what he's thinking. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not what you wanted to hear? Oh, poor baby. His tweets send the Democrat and the media into a frenzy all the time. And I personally think he does it on purpose. He's made some stupid statements, yes, but he's not afraid to make those statements. He's willing to lay it out on the line and say, here it is, folks. This is what I think. If you think I'm wrong, let's talk. Let's do it. Let's take it into, committee. Let's do something about it. But don't sit there and call names and say, oh, you're a racist because you hate somebody. Please. Well, all I can say is thank you, everybody, for listening in on me. I do like the support that I get. I will be doing or trying to do more shows if I can. And it's just, please make your own decisions. Make up your own mind. If you don't believe a story that's on the news, research it, find the truth, and take that truth for what it is. Don't listen to the Democrats. That debate was unbelievable. It was mind-bending dumb. Unbelievable. In my mind, in my period. What do you know? Anyway, take care, folks. Have a good day. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye.